Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is New Year's Eve and I thought what better way to induce some auld lang syne than read chapter 2 of Lake City, Stories from a Country Ass Town. It is available on Amazon if you're so inclined to pick it up. And without further ado, let's dive right into chapter 2. Yeah, perfect for New Year's. Chapter 2. Bygone Days of Coal Creek. In old-timey days before the white man settled the area, this 925-acre section of the state of Tennessee was Cherokee Indian hunting ground with wild game and clear, fresh springs. Coal Creek, a typical mountain stream, ran shallow, rather swiftly, and emptied into the Clinch River. This pleasant enough river, running from the Cumberland Mountains in Virginia into Tennessee, was 330 miles in length. When the Clinch was discovered, there were so many fish near the mouth of Coal Creek you couldn't catch them fast enough. It seemed like something out of a Bible story, the old-timers reminisced nostalgically. When the town was officially named, i.e. when it was first written down, heated debate rang forth as to whether the name was properly spelled Coal, C-O-L-E, or Coal, C-O-A-L Creek, as the first white settlers to the area had the surname of Cole, C-O-L-E. Whatever its spelling, argued over since inception, the land, located slap in the plain of the creek, had a big problem with flooding. Situated 10 miles north of Clinton, Coal Creek is the second largest town in Anderson County. Of the entire state of Tennessee, the minerals found in East Tennessee, limestone, light gray and dark red marble, iron, lead, zinc, and coal were richest here. Initially, the virgin forests in central Coal Creek were filled with pine and hemlock. Its hollows were populated with chestnut, walnut, and hickory trees. Thrifty, self-sufficient folk commonly crafted their furniture out of the fine timber and made canoes out of the poplar trees before it was deforested. East Tennessee, populated with tightly packed ridges and valleys, was once called the Switzerland of America, owing to the similarity of the terrain. Since half of the county is mountainous, it was never large plantation country, so its folk had very little use for slavery. Whatever farms or small plantations existed were family-run. The kind of people who lived in the valley of Coal Creek were generally pro-Union in the Civil War, therefore they stubbornly resisted the Confederate government. The locals who wanted to fight for the Union traveled over the Cumberland Mountains into Kentucky to enlist. During the war, there were no major battles in Coal Creek, only skirmishes. But this didn't stop soldiers on both sides from ransacking the town's farms and taking horses for the army, leaving the people in a sorry state. Lumber was already big business in 1870 when the railroad lines, initially laid from Knoxville into the neighboring town of Clinton, were finished from Clinton into Lake City in order to transport additional resources. While the lumber was already being harvested, ironically coal was discovered. From 1884 to 1903, Anderson County led all the other counties in Tennessee in the production of the fossil fuel, with the most extensively mined seam at Coal Creek. During this era, Coal Creek became a bustling coal mining town. Coal mining was a booming but dangerous business. Sadly, in 1902 and again in 1911, two of the worst mining disasters in U.S. history occurred in the surrounding area. On May 9, 1902, the Fraterville and Thistle mines exploded, killing 184 miners, men and boys, by poisonous gases and afterdamp, aka black damp. There was no inspection of the air quality that day. Not a single soul or creature survived. Trapped and waiting for death, many penned heart-wrenching letters to their families. Their recovered bodies, pitifully wrapped in sheets, were placed on flat railroad cars as Coal Creek had no funeral home at that time. The Coal Creek Mining Company and others were eventually charged with negligence in failing to measure the mine's ventilation. On December 9, 1911, at the Cross Mountain Mine, 89 miners entered that morning. Only 5 walked out. 84 miners were killed in an explosion due to afterdamp. A caged canary was typically taken down into the mines to best assess the air quality levels. as they are quickly susceptible to impure air. If the canary died or acted poorly, it was time to run for the entrance. Such was the slipshod sophistication of the era. By the mid-1800s, this is pre-coal, with the lure of healthy living and land on the cheap, the Harrisons arrived, set down roots, and did well for themselves. In the small contiguous counties of Anderson, Campbell, and Knox, they were known to be scrappy and adventurous, boasting store owners, clergy, U.S. Marshals, and attorneys amongst their notable Southern members. The educated Harrisons became famous in their little fish ponds. Harry's father, Hamilton Harold Harrison, nicknamed Triple H, was born in 1854 in Coal Creek. While many in the town had fancy birth names, like being named after presidents or generals, their nicknames were usually something from nature, frogs, crickets, or the like, or some cutting personal peculiarity, like son of save-a-buck for a tightwad, or turnip, because he just turned up. Triple H always donned dark suits and a large distinctive black Stetson hat and was noted for his beautiful penmanship. He managed multiple positions of political importance in addition to his businesses. In turns, he was the town postmaster, recorder from 1911 to 1931, marshal, an attorney, and a shitster in the Coal Creek War, and was quite fearsome in all his positions. He even killed a man, or 8, while executing his legally ordained duties as marshal, or so he claimed. Others insisted he killed a dozen men in cold blood. He said it wasn't his fault if he was quick on the draw when he had to pull. Though long dead, the specter of Triple H, the family patriarch, still loomed large in the city, larger than his fullest stature of 6'3" and 250 pounds. He was the progenitor of the genetic strain from which his descendants received their wily and feisty natures. Take note of that, family. The generation of Triple H's father was comprised of pioneering types, many with a rich history of orneriness, who arrived in places like Coal Creek to conquer them by God, by force, or by both. A few of Triple H's brothers went into the clergy and started large churches in nearby Claxton. These brothers sniffed at and prayed for the aggressive Hamilton, who acquired both land and a reputation at an alarming pace. Hamilton was known as a, quote, damn good man to those who knew him well, and a, quote, damned man to those who didn't. Plenty tried to cross him, to their detriment. Combative on a good day, he didn't suffer fools gladly. To those he loved, Triple H was discriminating and spared nothing. By the time Hamilton laid his body down in 1931, at the ripe old age of 77, due to various battle wounds he'd accrued over the years, he owned several houses near the University of Tennessee, barber shops, a livery which became obsolete, so he started breeding racehorses, a general store in Lake City, and vast acres of land and holdings in the 3 surrounding counties. At his passing, Triple H's substantial estate was divided equally amongst his surviving heirs, his remaining children, Maud, Robert, Mossy, Flossie, and Harold. And that's the end of chapter 2. So I hope you enjoyed chapter 2 of Lake City, Stories from a Country as Town. Chapter 2 setting the stage for Lake City as the coal mining town and talking about what it was like pre-coal, what it was like during the coal mining era, and then it introduces one of the family progenitors, the family patriarch, Triple H, and also kind of gives you a hint as to the orneriness of said family that's going to come in the next chapter. So I hope you liked it. And if you did, please press that little like button and ring that subscribe bell. It's so cheesy when people do that, but that is how you get a base of people to follow you, and also it gets the algorithms going here on YouTube. So anyway, if you could subscribe, I really would appreciate it. And I want everybody to have an excellent New Year's Eve, and I hope we all have a wonderful 2020. Thanks. Bye.